minute or two early, but okay, whatever. I'm gonna go make my tea. Alright, first, I didn't mean to go live immediately, but I wanted to give it another minute. I'm making a cup of tea. Okay, let's do this. Let's see. Wow, I didn't even get anything ready yet. I thought I had a couple more minutes, but I'm gonna go with it, because why not? If we're going live, we're going live. Another minute or two won't make a difference. I wanted to address a couple of things. It was a lovely poem. Hang on. Let's mute, say that I'm live. Indeed, I am. Okay, so it's the Nazarite bringing you Hebrew lore from days of yore. Somebody watching, hello. Wait, somebody watching, nobody watching? There's a difference between what YouTube is saying on the laptop and what YouTube is saying over here on the phone. So I wonder which one it is. But I will say hi there. Ah, there it is. Now it's synced up. Hello, someone watching. Hi there. Okay, let's see. What I wanted to set up before I accidentally immediately went live was a few comments from the past few days, or whenever since I last streamed. Okay, so Purim. Purim is one of those holidays that right, doesn't appear in the 5 books of Moses. It does appear in the Bible. Unlike Hanukkah, right, the book of Maccabees was not placed in the Hebrew Bible by our sages who compiled it. And it was left, apocryphal, right? Sfarim Chitzonim, the external books. But Maccabees didn't make it there. Purim did. Esther and Mordechai, right? Esther insisted that this would be a holiday, ought to be a book put into the Bible, made to live on. There is is it a midrash? I don't recall, a commentary that says that in the future, all of the holidays will be nullified, right, and made obsolete, other than Purim. And there's the famous, hello, other person watching, hi there. There's of course, the idea of Yom, oh wait, you know what, I'm seeing that I'm a little cut off here. Oh no, I'm not, okay. The idea of Yom HaKippurim, the holiday of atonement, being Keppurim, as Purim. And that Purim, with its Ad Lo Yada, until it is not known, until he does not know. Originally, it's supposed to be that a person should be so intoxicated, let's say, or elated on Purim that he does not know the difference between cursed is Haman and blessed is Mordechai. I mentioned this in previous streams, I've been lucky enough once or twice in my life to, as far as I'm concerned, reach that level, back when I was still drinking alcohol. So over a decade ago, over like 15 years ago, I don't remember. And Purim is something that's supposed to last and sort of outlive the other holidays, according to that teaching, because its source, its root is higher. It's a root where you need to have your mind altered, so to speak, on Purim. You need to reach higher, and people do it through wine, and the entire miracle that happened with. When was your last shower? I'm gonna say Friday, maybe Sunday. It's Tuesday, right? I'm thinking Friday before Shabbos. I think maybe one after that, but I didn't wash my hair. Wow, I haven't washed my hair in probably a couple of weeks. Life with a newborn. Is this live? Yes, it is. Hello, Rael Archilus Alberstein. Quite a username there. And hello, Metenin Sol Testisi. Is that Latin? Are both of those in Latin? Okay. Yes, it's live. I'm live here in Jerusalem. It's 10 to 1 p.m. I had a quick nap while the baby was napping, and now I'm awake. And I figured maybe I'll go live spontaneously. So yes, it is live. So right, I was talking about Purim, and now we make preparations for Passover, for Pesach, the holiday of redemption. And, well, you know what, Pesach, there'll be a time later to talk about Pesach, I suppose. It's still the month of Adar. We're still in this moon and not the moon of Passover. The moon of Adar, it's said that its sign, right, is the fish. And the fish, they say, they have, let's say, a good eye placed on them because they survived the flood. And they are seen as a sign of good fortune, procreation, abundance. And Adar is still going on, so I won't talk about Passover right now. By the way, it is an open Q&A. If you want to say anything, do anything. There are 6 people here, so hi, 6 people. So Metanin and Real Archilus, what's up? What's the good word? Where are you from? What do you say? What do you be? So for the past couple of weeks, I've been watching videos by Restoration of the Breach, known as Yira Ha'ari. Now, I wouldn't presume to know his background, where he's coming from, what he's, but his videos are, according to him, right, bringing the mysteries of the Kabbalah and, well, sending his bread upon the water, right, and sending them out into the world, revealing mysteries of Kabbalah. I'm always of the opinion that the real, let's say, mysteries of Kabbalah are ones which have never been written down. And he claims that what he is bringing down has not been written in any book. So, again, far be it from me to say, well, to say anything about him, because I only watched a few of his videos the last couple of weeks. And it's way over my head. Also, a lot to do with Gimatria, a lot to do with the Lurianic Kabbalah and the Partsufim, and the way right now, at least, that I approach the Kabbalah, pretty much as I have for, even since I took the Nazarite vow, so over 15 years ago or so, a more, dare I say, simple approach to the 10 Sfirot without the Lurianic Partsufim, at least for now. It's that type of approach to Kabbalah that really, really sits well with me because I'm a relatively simple individual. And a more simple interpretation, let's say, of the 10 Sfirot of the Tree of Life is something that evidently has taken up residency in me. And there are people claiming he is the Messiah, you know, not anointed yet perhaps, or maybe he has been anointed by his followers, I don't know. I got in touch with him on the YouTube comments, and he saw I do live streams. He said, if you want to do a Q&A, and I said, yeah, I'm up for it. So the ball is in his court, unless he didn't see the message, which is a possibility. Still, the Gimatria. The Gimatria, I just have an issue with the Gimatria, with basing certain teachings, not solely on Gimatria, but pretty heavily on Gimatria. And as I pretty much follow our sages on this thing, where it can come as an introduction to something, or as a cherry on top of a teaching. The movement of the skies and the seasons and Gimatria are a dessert after the meal. That's pretty much how I view it, and how I've viewed it for a long time. And this person, Yirahari, I hope I will be able to do a Q&A with him, understand a bit more where he's coming from. The videos that I saw recently, he titled them a 3-part series called The Religion of Evil. He was talking about the Frankists, and he was talking about the Shabbata'im, right? Shabbatai Tzvi, Yaakov Frank. He was talking about how these people who were great scholars and Kabbalists in their own merit, let's say, they decided then to mirror the upper worlds, the higher realms, to such a degree that things that are forbidden here, they decided to make permissible. This world is a world of duality, right? Of allowed and not allowed, permissible and forbidden, let's say. And so he says that they went awry when they said, no, all of the relationships that go on in the higher worlds, in the higher realms, in the upper partsufim, those need to also be made manifest here physically in the world. And that's problematic, Because there comes a point, and I don't know precisely where it is, where you say, yes, there are the higher realms. We human beings are made in the image of God, and we have the 10 Sefirot inside of us. We personify them physically and some of us spiritually. And he said the mistake was, right, there's a line, sorry, I was in the middle of that thought. There's a line where you say, no, you need to mirror the 10 Sefirot in your actions, in your dealings, in your doings, the way you conduct yourself in the world. But there are certain things which should not be done. And they said, no. What was the line? I don't remember who said it. If we are not all saints, let us be all sinners. They were sort of trying, and I've mentioned this before, to force God's hand, as it were. That part of God which is calculating and judgmental, and I don't mean that in the negative, I mean sits in judgment. Because redemption, they say, will come in two ways. Either we all merit it, or we are so immersed in terrible sin, missing the mark at every turn, just like in the days before the flood, that something needs to come and wipe us all out, so to speak, but not wipe us all out like in the flood, but take us all out and raise us higher out of a very desperate need, let's say, of humanity, of creation as such. The Frankists and the what would they be, Sabbatians, Shabtai Tzvi's disciples, he said that they staged these orgies, and they right, what did they have? They had Baruch Metir Isurim, blessed is he who makes permissible that which is not allowed. They said, no, we need to sink really low in order to be lifted higher, much like with a roller coaster, you need to go down to generate the momentum to make the loop. There's an idea there that has sort of merit. The question is, where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line? And the Torah, oral and written, they draw the line in certain places. You could say the sages are moving the goalposts. You could say modern-day halachic rulers are moving the goalposts. I'm not here to debate or argue. But I am saying that it's because these people were such scholars and Kabbalists, and they went awry. And I see that, and I say, you know what? I'm not an educated man, a learned man. I'm a very simple man. But I think that the interpretation of the 10 Sefirot, as I am currently learning it and trying to live, that's something where, even though I do transgress and I do sin and I miss the mark, I don't make the mistake, so far, of crossing that line. Now, some would say I would. For instance, with the Nazarite vow. The Nazarite vow is very much attached to the Sfirah of Keter, the higher Sfirah, the crown. And it's a fine line, because the Nazarite, right, traditionally that is, not the Samson Nazarite, but the proper the proper numbers, right, Bamidbar Nazarite, that's not a Samson Nazarite, needs to stay away from defilement of death, right, and no gray products whatsoever or derivatives thereof, and not to cut the hair. And the Nazarite, in doing so, is able to gain a certain, open up a channel that comes from Keter, but I don't think that the Torah makes the mistake of saying, and you've already reached it, you're the highest that there is, that's it, you're good to go, you don't have to do anything, worry about anything. No, there's still something there that you need to contend with, your humanity. And that's part of what the Nazarite there vow is for those who take it. And Yaakov Frank, right, and in Shabtai Tzvi, and all of that, and that's why people persecuted the Hasidim when Hasidus first started to arrive in its modern incarnation a few hundred years ago. A great controversy. Some of it is still ongoing, but it's like people thought that they were taking the higher Kabbalah and trying to bring it down into creation in a way that the Frankists and the Shabtai Tzvi's followers were doing, and it was very worrying, and there were a big fight, a big controversy. So when I saw those videos by Yerari on the religion of evil, thinking to myself, I wonder where the practical application of the knowledge is in this specific case. When he was talking about this religion of evil, the higher elites, and how they're trying to emulate the higher sefirot by doing things that are not permissible here in this place, in this time, right? A world of good and evil. So where do you draw the line? I guess when I'm thinking of the practical implementation of this knowledge or those videos, it's only what Rav Kook said, right? He said that it's better not to fight the darkness, but to strike a match. I'm paraphrasing, right? And a little bit of light repels a lot of the darkness. He said, don't fight ignorance, make wisdom more abundant. All right, let's go to the chat. Hey, Wolf Schnaze, what's up, Hebrew? Shalom, shalom to you. Did you ever check into the Gileadish general Japta and his conflict with the Ephraimites? No, I didn't. I don't even remember when that was brought up, but I'm making a note of it right now. Okay. Or, he says, he continues, or Akinton, and the possibility of his priests being the founders of the 12 tribes of Israel. No. Why do I not remember that? Hey, is it Megumi or Megumai? Hi, I hope you're having a good day too. You know what, man? My apologies. I don't remember those two things which you mentioned or commented on at the time. I don't know it at all. Isa Greenman, hello. It was surprising, he says, to see Yira reveal those things, as that is the first time I believe Frank's actual teachings were revealed in any deep detail. Well, look, again, I'm not a scholar, I'm not a historian, but when I was learning about the Frankists and the Sabbatians I was in high school, learning about how Hasidism came into the world. As part of I was in 11th grade, I think. So I studied that in 11th and 12th grade. It was my first introduction, let's say it coincided with my interest in spirituality, and I very much enjoyed it. So to see it revealed like that, yeah, I mean, look, I don't know who else would go into such detail, but he definitely goes into great detail on the different relationships in the Parzufim and how, definitely. Maybe we were stoned, says Wolf. Maybe we were. Megumi, unfortunately, not a good day for me. I had to put my dog down. Oh, well, our doggy, died just about a month ago, or just over a month ago. And we had her live with us for 15 years. And thankfully, she died in her bed. We didn't have to put her down. But I'm sorry that you had to put her. Did you have your last moments with, what was it, a bitch? Was it a dog? What was it? That said, I had mine for 12 years. Well, you know, everything that lives dies until we live again in the tree of life. But I understand, yeah, it's sad. 12 years, wow. So tell me a bit about the dog. What breed, what name? Share a bit of information about your doggo. All dogs go to heaven, as they say. So the first time that Frank's actual teachings were revealed in any deep detail. Interesting, yeah. I mean, you tell me. I don't know, maybe. Isaac says, what do you think about the concept of Purim and drinking until Mordechai and Haman are perceived opposite? So this is actually what I started the stream with, but I'll repeat the bottom line. Since I didn't broadcast or make any shorts really during Purim, I said a couple of words about it now. So what do I think about it? I think that that's the one day where it's permissible to drink like that. I think it's the one day where it's permissible to alter your mind in a way where you deliberately do it in order to gain spiritual insight. And together with the Megillah, the fast beforehand, the Mishloach Manot, and giving charity, together it forms that basis that that rock that you can leap off of. And sometimes you need to leave some of your mind behind, as it were. Now, I say leave some of your mind behind, but it's actually the other way around. It's actually mind expanding. And Hasidim in their hitva'aduyot, right? And there's alcohol there, because when taken in measure, it really can broaden the mind, make you more social, especially if, sacred congregation is involved, and there's Torah and music and dancing and insights. And on Purim, you're supposed to drink more than you're used to. You're not supposed to get shit-faced drunk, though I have in the past. But you are supposed to drink more than you're used to. And some people say you just drink enough to sort of get you to nod off, not flat out, collapse on the floor and heave and wake up in your own sick. I mean that, you're nice and tipsy and you close your eyes, and that's they say that's another interpretation of ad de lo yada. But it doesn't say get drunk. It says libisume. Libisume, what would be the direct translation? Leitbasem. I used 15 or 20 minutes ago when I just started and I was talking about it. I used the word elated, but it's not really elated. Elated has to do with high and low. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. It'll come to me. I don't know the word I'm looking for right now. You know what? Here, I'll do it right now. I'll Google it. Lehitbasem be'anglit in English. What would be the best translation? But it's sort of to get high, right? To perfume. That's the right bosem with a samech or a sin. But no, I want in English. Let's see. Lehitbasem. To mellow, to catch a buzz. That's it. That's pretty much it, right? To get a buzz. That's a good interpretation. A buzz. That's tipsy, a buzz. So that idea that it's permissible on that day specifically is very much akin to that one day when we are allowed to go into the holiest of holies. Not us, the high priest, right? Yom HaKippurim, ke Purim, like Purim. There's one time when you're allowed to do this. There's one time when you're allowed to do that. The idea with Purim is that this time God's name does not appear in the Megillah as Yod Hei Vav Hei or Shem Adnut Adonai either. It appears as Hamelech, the king, but that's attributed to Achashverosh, Xerxes. In the scroll of Esther, in the Megillah, there's the hiddenness of Adonai and how it's behind the scenes, seemingly without any divine intervention. And it's one time when we are said, you're supposed to go further. Now, the children of Aharon, Nadav and Avihu, when at the dedication of the temple, took the incense, went into the Ark of the Covenant in the holiest of holies, tried to perform that higher ritual, but it wasn't the right time. And so they were taken. And it also says right afterwards, Aaron and his sons should not be intoxicated with wine, right, when they entered to serve. And so some of our sages say it was because Nadav and Avihu were indeed drunk, or at least intoxicated to some degree, and that's what caused them to get too close and be consumed by the fire. On Purim, we're instructed to take that extra step. So what do I think of it? As somebody who has been drunk on Purim once or twice to such a degree where I really felt that there was no difference. I can tell you that though, truth be told, I've felt that before. On Purim, it's a different feeling. On Purim, we do it as a people, even those who don't drink like myself or who don't get drunk. Purim is something special. So what do I think? I think it's right for that time and that place. And I think it's right that the scroll of Esther was put into the Tanakh, seeing as how that's what it signifies. And during the days of Purim, the people of Israel took the Torah upon themselves, the covenant of Torah. They renewed the covenant, this time not at the foot of the mountain with the horn, right, and the fire and the smoke and the voice of God booming. No, it was seemingly without divine intervention. They decided to take it upon themselves, to make the fast, to do the thing, to go the extra mile, to give it a shot. And they were fortunate. Fortune smiled upon them, as it were, and Purim was made and dedicated for life. Okay, so what do you think about it? What do you think about that part? Do you know of Rabbi Shmuley? I'm assuming you mean Rabbi Shmuley Boteach. And if so, what's your opinion of him? Well, he's a zealot, and I don't know if I mean that all in the negative. Some zealotry is acceptable. I've seen one or two of his debates. I know that he was hanging around with Michael Jackson at the time. I also know that he is the author of the book Kosher Sex and a few others that I have not read, but any rabbi, Orthodox rabbi at any rate, who has the cojones to properly address kosher sex has the right idea, let's say. Because, damn it, kosher sex can be really hot. Okay. On a lighter note, have you seen Mel Brooks' History of the World Part 1? Yes, I have. I'm a very great fan of Mel Brooks from the time when I was a wee lad. My father loves Mel Brooks. I was told that there's a part 2 series, TV series, something like that, a mini series, and not to watch it. And some say, no, you should watch it. So I don't remember. And part 1 I saw such a long time ago, a very long time ago. Other things of his I've seen more recently. My woman and I are great fans of Spaceballs and of Robin Hood Men in Tights. The idea is very Bacchian. I agree, it is a very Bacchian thing. Right, Bacchus was it the Greek god of wine and fertility? Or no, that was Dionysus. Bacchus is the Roman god. Correct me if I'm wrong. DX White, he says, free Palestine. I agree. Free Palestine from Hamas. Free Palestine from terrorism. Free Palestine from the hostages. Let them come back to Israel. And thank you for supporting the IDF. Thank you for supporting Israel, DXYT. Free Palestine from Hamas. What's your OnlyFans? Kenneth Bromwell says. Well, you guys are my OnlyFans. And the fan that I have in the room, there's a ceiling fan in another room. So you guys and a few over here in the house, those are my OnlyFans. Of course, as you know, I mean, there's my friends and family, well-wishers. I guess those are my fans too. Wolf says, love you, bro. If you're ever in Switzerland, you have a place to stay. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, I do. DX says, why do you guys killing kids in Gaza and all over Palestinians? Why guys take the house of the Palestinians people? Well, this is not a political thing, but I will give my 2 cents on this. Hamas needs to surrender, return the hostages, dead and alive, not kill any hostages on the way, maybe this time, and disarm and stop oppressing the Palestinian, peace-loving Palestinian people. I believe they do exist. The innocent ones, which I believe do exist despite all the brainwashing. And then we need to de-radicalize and de-extrematize both sides. And then, God willing, war and bloodshed will be taken away from the world, and there will be world peace, true world peace. As for killing kids, I am not into killing kids. I have not killed any kids as far as I know. And in war, there are casualties. In war, there are innocent people who are killed, being at the wrong place at the wrong time. That's a given. I do believe that the IDF is doing everything that's in modern urban warfare. The IDF goes to great lengths to ensure, to the best of its ability, that no civilians are involved. But it's such a densely populated area, and people are still there, and so casualties happen. I'm not going to say the words collateral damage, and I'm not going to place blame, because it all depends on your time frame. Right? If you look 2 years back, if you look just from the 7th of October, do you look 1,000 years back? Do you look 2,000 years back? Do you look 5,000 years back? How far do you want to take it? As for taking the house of Palestinian people, so Jews were Palestinians too, and Christians living here were Palestinians too. The empire and mandate, right, of Palestine was what the British mandate had, and the modern-day state of Israel is a wee percentage of that. Most of the bulk of Palestine, right, Provincia Palestina, the British mandate afterwards, that was given to the Hashemites in Jordan, and a lot of Palestinians are indeed in Jordan. That's the OG Palestinian state. There was never any other Palestinian state ever in the history of the world. So, take the house of Palestinian people. I believe that people who lived here, right, when the wars broke out, they do have a right to live here. They lived here. They should continue living here in peace with their Israeli neighbors. And why take the house? So some Palestinians did have their houses taken over in 48 as a war effort. And some ran away because of the ongoing war. And some left voluntarily because the leaders told them, go leave for a few days, we'll clean the Zionist scum out, and then you can come right back in. So which house do you mean? How do you mean by take? And remember, it's not a political thing, and I'm not a war historian. So I only have what I see. And I know that any news that comes my way, by the time it reaches me, I've said this many times, it's not news, it's propaganda, one way or another. I use magic mushrooms in a similar way only once a year. So yes, I've had my magic mushroom rituals that were intended to induce that state in order to gain insight into myself, not reach a higher spiritual plane, but simply gain insight into myself. And some would say that's one and the same. I certainly treated it as such. I'm a fan of magic mushrooms. As with anything, you need to do it in measure. But yes, once a year sounds like really sounds like a good ratio. Once a year to do that, take a trip. Tell me, do you use mushrooms? Do you use truffles? What strain is your favorite? Can you share any? Can you give a short trip report? And pardon me, and I'd love to know more. Rizal actually says they were at a higher level and so they ascended up. Very interesting. Well, again, I'm not a Lurianic scholar, and I'm saying that that's why you need to be very careful. There was a rabbi from Tzfat who a few years ago was, well, I don't know where it stands right now, but he was messing around with married women who came to seek his counsel. He was under the impression, he was told by, well, for all intents and purposes, spiritual beings, spiritual creatures, that his sperm is sacred, and that he needs to, well, I don't remember the exact phrasing, but we'll leave it at that. And certain women who were coming to seek his counsel, he would sleep with them, assuring them that his sperm was sacred, and that, very Monty Python, every sperm is sacred. So, not to disparage orthodoxy or rabbis as such, but that's one thing where the person got so high. He was a great Kabbalist and a great scholar, and the higher, as high as he was, that's the depths to which he fell when he plummeted. It's such a fine line that sometimes you walk, because you're human, irrevocably human. No matter how high you get spiritually, you're still human. Which means you're susceptible. You're susceptible. You can't, right? There are three things which in our sages say, en apotropos la'arayot, right? There is no guardian against that, against the, well, it's not lust. It's not lust, it's not ta'ava. En apotropos la'arayot means those who are not allowed. Women, for all intents and purposes. They were speaking to men at the time, or women, but those who you are not allowed to come near and be with sexually. And they said that there is no guardian against that, meaning you can't be your own advocate and say, nope, I am completely 100% pure, and I am not touched by that at all, and there is no danger whatsoever. And that's also, by the way, why there is what's called isur yichud. You are not, according to halacha, you're not allowed to be in a room, right? Locked door, a door where someone can't enter from the outside. You can't be with a woman, right, inside of a closed room. And, well, I'll leave it at that. That's one facet of isur yichud. The higher level, and they ascended up. Very interesting. Yeah, they ascended up, and then they went really low. Now you could say, yes, they knew what they were doing 100%. They knew what they were doing. They had to go down to the depths of the depths in order to elevate the fallen sparks, right? The rapach nitzotzin. Now, once again, I'm not a Lurianic scholar, but the idea of the broken vessels and the idea of the fallen sparks, the idea that we need to go into those dark places in order to illuminate them, that's very dangerous. You need to really watch your ass when you make those claims. Yes, I will go into the belly of the beast. Yes, I will go in there. No, you need to be really sure of yourself and not arrogant at all. And I'm personally not there yet. I wouldn't ever presume to say, yes, I'm going to go down to the depths in order to... No, I would be taken in. I would be swallowed by the beast. I wouldn't be rescuing my father from the belly of the whale. I would be swallowed by the whale. I know that about myself. And maybe there will come a time where I can say, no, you know what? Let's go. Let's do it. Let's go in there. But the idea of the fallen sparks and people intentionally going in there and not inadvertently, accidentally... There's a story about a pupil, a disciple, a Talmud of the Baal Shem Tov, who was on a ship. They had to abandon ship, and they were on an island, or he was alone on an island, and it was Rosh Hashanah. He was on the way across the sea, but he was stranded on an island with his shofar, right, with his horn, his ram's horn, and he did the prayers, and he blew the horn, as is tradition on the Feast of Trumpets, Rosh Hashanah, and then he was rescued at some point, and he went back to the Baal Shem Tov, and he said, that wasn't an accident. There was something there on that island that you had to elevate, and with your prayers and the blowing of the horn and so on, you were able to extricate those sparks and elevate them, and now creation is better for it. So yeah, there's the idea of going into, but that's accidental, let's say. That's something, or incidental. To go into evil in order to elevate it, that's something very dangerous to say, to presume. And I'm speaking only personally. Okay. Shalom, everybody, said Tanizar. Crusty like. What? Oh, crusty. Hello. Hey. Crusty like. Gotcha. Well, Krusty doesn't do the Jewish stuff on air. Yup, we are all susceptible. Nothing like a beach bunny to prove that. Wait. HS has an OnlyFans? Yes, I do. Wolf says, oh yes, my colleague produces several strains. They are all good. The last strain was Samhain. I hope I'm pronouncing that. I traveled deep into the universe of my soul, and it was very enlightening. This time, I feel I actually felt like I had made real progress in dealing with myself. Good for you. That is awesome. That's what these plants and herbs were put here for, to bring us closer to ourselves, closer to each other. And now, so tell me, what do you think, looking back? I don't know how long you've been doing these annual rituals, but I have a question, Wolf. How long would you say was your longest integration process? I guess that's something that's for life, right? Integrating things that you gain when you're with mushrooms. But if you had to just sort of off the top of your head, something that you integrated, because sometimes it takes longer, sometimes it takes less time, sometimes you're not even thinking about it, but suddenly something has changed. You can't put your finger on it, but it changed something inside of you. Can you share one thing about something that you integrated into your being, into your conduct regarding how you deal with yourself or others? Can you give like a small thing, perhaps, that you were able to integrate and that you attribute to the mushrooms? The beast loves the arrogant. The beast loves the arrogant. Sanizar says DMT to Wolf. No, we weren't talking about, what is it? Dimethyltryptamine, right? No, we were talking about magic mushrooms, psilocybin mushrooms. It was all them trolls asking to see leg, wasn't it? Ha! Right. It was knees. He said, let me see your knees, I think. I barely made it out alive. Alive being questionable. Yeah, well, you know what? You made it out. You're still here with us, so that's a good thing. As is out, for that matter. Yes. Yeah, I think certain trips that you take, be they substance-induced or not, something in it really stays inside of you. There's the genetic material, right, that a fetus has. Some of it stays even after the fetus is out of the womb and is already a newborn baby. There is a part of the child that remains embedded in the mother. Now, there is that idea of that being questionable. There are certain things that you do that leave an imprint, right? What's called a reshimu. When you go through a transformation, likened to a rebirth, you're birthing yourself. Incidentally, the New York Nazarite Aleph Alif, he showed me recently that there is a Taoist idea of a person birthing someone new from within. All right, kind of like peeling the layers and revealing someone new, and like there's a small golden child inside of you, and a child inside of that child, a very matryoshka, babushka sort of idea. Things leave an imprint, and right, that reshimu. So, alive but questionable, out, questionable. I think that you made your mark on the beast, perhaps as much as the beast made its mark on you. And you're still here, and maybe you're better for the experience. I don't know. The Blowing says, finally caught alive. Hey, The Blowing. I don't recall, have you been here before? I'm not sure, but hello, good to see you. Are we talking about blowing bubbles? Are we talking about blowing up? Hey, two new faces, welcome. Wolf says, I spoke with one of the people I killed in Iraq, and he told me to forgive myself, which I did. Oh, that is intense. I'm really happy you forgave yourself. That is, wow, that is something. That is really something. Sounds like something the dead would say. Yeah, I think so too. Sounds like something they would say. Leg, knees, tomato, tomato. Speaking of tomato, tomato, we have a bar mitzvah coming up, and my boy is going to be playing that on the trombone. Right, let's call the whole thing off, among other classics. During the celebration, a leg is little without knee, and a knee is and a knee nothing without leg. All right, I'll give it to you. Fine. Very chill. Feel free to ponder. Oh, thank you. Seems a chill place to be. Well, I try to make it so. I'm here with my cup of tea. Feel free to ponder, he says. And Sneezer continues and says, I certainly put my mark on the beast. Yeah, but again, I wouldn't do so voluntarily. I personally, and now look, some people can have the presumption, the audacity, what's called a azut de kedusha, that holy chutzpah, to go in there and say, yes, I am going to tackle this, I am going to beat it, I am going to best it, and I will make the beast my bitch, so to speak. But oh my God, it's such a dangerous tightrope that one is walking. You can never, ever, despite everything on your side, you can never, I think, be so arrogant as to think that you are bulletproof. You know what I'm saying? Human beings can control the elements. Human beings can control the angels and the demons. Human beings can control all of creation, and still, that should not be the case. That's already some form of pride. Now, a person is instructed to have 1/60th of pride. It's not even a person, it's a Talmud Chacham, and according to our sages, a proper apprentice, a proper learned individual, someone who has understanding and wisdom on his side. That person can have 1/60th of pride. Now, I say that we could all use 1/60th of pride. It helps us be assertive. It helps us stand up for ourselves and not take crap from people. So yeah. And in the same way, right, it's that 1/60th, but of arrogance, 1/60th of but I don't know, it's dangerous, very dangerous, very dangerous. Then again, I'm also playing with fire, doing my thing, right, under my vow. So I don't know, but I certainly, which is why, look, it's why I always say, yes, I am a sinning Nazarite, but a Nazarite nonetheless, because I wouldn't presume. And I hope that if I ever do presume to be completely pure and 100%, that oh man, I don't know what kind of reality would have to manifest itself for me to say those words. Some people can. Some people have that azut. Some people have that chutzpah. And I guess that is a good thing as well, because there's that distribution of chutzpah in the world and of azut de kedusha. And if people want to say, yes, I have God on my side and I'm going to go into the darkest areas voluntarily, I don't know, man. I'm just not wired like that. But I guess I understand those who are. He's catching up. Hurry up and ask some questions. Thank you. I appreciate Sneezer. I appreciate that very much. No, it was more like once I realized I was inside, I cut my way out. Cut your way out. So you forced it. It wasn't like with Jonah and the big fish where God instructed him to spit him out. You cut your way out. That's you going all the way. I wonder, in your analogy of the beast, did you cut out from the stomach? Did you cut your way through, right, to the hide or the tail, so to speak? Where do you think you came out? You know what I'm saying? Wolf says, I have been practicing vision questing for 40 years. And one thing I have really learned is that it's good to be prepared for war, but don't confuse that with being aggressive on a daily basis. Yeah, if you want peace, for those who want peace, prepare for war, right? That's the Latin phrase. Or something like that. God cut your way out. I see what you mean. Okay. The Blowing says, it's a terrible name I choose. It's just a little joke with myself about the Shining movie. You can call me Aaron, LOL. Now, interestingly, I read the book when I was a kid, and then I saw the miniseries for television that scared the crap out of me. Only years later did I see Kubrick's The Shining with Jack Nicholson, right? And Duvall, Shelley Duvall. Both of them are creepy. I still have a copy of The Shining here that I think folks gave to me because they had a new one or they didn't need it, and I every now and then thumb through The Shining. I haven't read it cover to cover in a long time, but there are some paragraphs and chapters there that there's that Friends episode where Joey keeps The Shining in the freezer. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. A terrible name, a little joke. Oh, if it's a joke, so why is it terrible? Good to see you, Aaron. Good to see you. Where are you from? What are you doing? What are you seeing? So Neezer says, 1/60th of pride suggests God to be only 60 of us. No, I think it means within yourself, 1/60th of pride. If you were 100% pride, so be 1/60th. So what would that be? That would be like a 0.8%? I don't know what. Some part of you needs to be proud. It's just not something that should be always on the outside. It's like know when to implement, know when to bring it into effect. Everybody sins, but a significant less live to sin. Lived in order to sin, aka sinners. Right, we all miss the mark, but some people are intentionally missing the mark. A significant less live to sin. Okay, I'm inclined to agree. Me, I kind of live to smoke, so not sure, 50-50. Jesus gave me his sword, he says. Well, he continues, where I ended up was kind of shitty, so yeah, I hear you. Oh, 1/60th would be just under 2%. Okay, my mistake. Well, that was kind of close. Wolf says, what do you think of Al Crowley's work, The Beast himself? Al Crowley? I don't know the name offhand. Sorry. The beast is society, ego, Satan, its rulers. Ego and Satan are its rulers. Well, what do you mean? Society definitely may have the tendency or proclivity to become beastly, but there is also... It's an orderly beast, if it is, right? It's a civilized beast. Maybe not tame. I don't know. Society? I mean, look, there have been so many societies. How can you claim that the beast is society? Ego, Satan, its rulers, right? So I see Satan as adversary, right? I see Satan as adversary. Ego, well, I've talked many times about the ego. I won't get into it. Ego serves a purpose, and the adversarial forces serve a purpose. The beast is society. The beast is society. Yeah, I mean, to some degree, right? We have nature and nurture. If we're talking about the nurture, society being the beast, I don't know. Maybe. Oh, wait, gotta get the door. Be right back. Hello. Hi. I'm alive, but I'm gonna be done soon. Can you close the door, babe? Lior is still in daycare. He's still in gun. Okay. So Neezer says rulers.
Yeah, look.
What is it? Oh, cool. Can I look at it a bit later? Cool. Rulers, said Neezer, are always egotistical, thinking they have some right to lead in force. He says in parentheses. I mean, look, some leaders really do lead. And some enforcement needs to be put into place, and this is also true to the Torah, right? Shoftim v'shotrim, judges and keepers of the peace. You have people to uphold laws, you have people to enforce the laws. There could be great chaos and anarchy, because I don't think we are at that place as a human race where we are together, all together. Maybe then we won't need leaders. Maybe. The only effective way is to lead by example. Okay, so yeah, so some leaders were actual proper leaders. Some leaders Has this been here the whole time, or did I move it recently? I'm curious. All right, whatever. So enforcing something, sometimes leading by example, is enforcing something. So how do you reconcile the two? Our only enemy is ourselves. That's true conceptually, and all of the enemy in the self is mirrored in the physical enemies that you have that are external, and it's mirrored in the spiritual enemies that you have, right? And the different forces of the other side that are working, if not against you, right? Because it's not against per se, it's to set up the stage for you to be, well, either fail or be elevated. And the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu, in his wisdom, likened it to milling stones. And I've mentioned that many times as well because I loved the analogy, right? Good and evil, they're not opposites, they're milling stones. They might be opposites, but they work together in order to produce that grain.
They mill all the stones to make the flat, just the way as they come off.
Yes, that's right. Like in a windmill. Right. Okay. Oh, founder of Golden Dawn. So that was a sect. I don't really recall. Was the Golden Dawn? Were they the ones who killed themselves together in a group suicide? Were they the ones who released a certain toxin it was China or Japan in the metro, the subway? I don't recall. I'm sorry? Yes, you may have one.
Thank
you. Okay. Candy and goodies from Purim, Shalach Manas, the Mishloach Manot. We're taking our time with it. Heck, if it was up to me, I could eat.
No, it's up to me.
It's not up to you, it is up to me. But if it was up to the side of me that wants to eat all the candy and the snacks at once, then I would do it. But that's not how I roll usually. Though make no mistake, I can definitely finish a snack in one sitting. I have done so before.
Really?
Especially it's misunderstandings. Our only enemy is misunderstanding. So possibly, right? But that sort of ripples out into, right? There's the enemy inside of you, and there's the enemy outside of you, and there's the enemy in the higher physical play, in the higher spiritual realms. But in the highest, there is no good and evil. All right, you know what? I have only 5% left on my battery, and I've been on for almost an hour, so I'm going to say goodbye. God willing, I will continue this chat. I missed a few, but I'll continue it next time I go live. Not sure exactly when that will be, but thank you for being here. I deeply appreciate your time, your attention. I hope it was of some value. Thank you for your comments, your insights, your likes, your subs, your views, your comments in the chat, your comments in the comments. It has been such a pleasure. I deeply appreciate it. I don't take it for granted. You could be doing anything else right now, but you're doing this here with me, those watching now, those watching later. I love to go live. I love that it's raw. I love it that we can have this dialogue. May it continue. And may we, as always, try to bring it down into the physical and funky stank of the world and better ourselves in the process to bring these teachings and these ramblings and these rants down to be blessed and be a blessing to others. Until then, God willing, goodbye from Jerusalem.